Zhu Shenji asked the man, to which the man answered, "Big brother." Annoyed, Zhu Shenji told him that he didn't need to be so friendly and just said his thing. The man said that he was talking about the person who could help them was called Big Brother. He said that there were many people pretending to be Big Brother Chang'an, but there was only one real brother Chang'an. The man informed them that if they wanted to find someone, he might be able to help them. Tin Man asked the man if Big Brother was the big boss. The man continued that Chang'an had an underground city. Killers, thieves, bandits, fugitives, hidden prostitutes, and so on. These people were nestled in the underground city, and that Big Brother was the master of the underground city. He told them that if the underground city toll was 10 copper, the 3 copper coins would fall in the hands of Big Brother, and if the people inside got into trouble, Big Brother would not bother them, as Big Brother was still a very righteous man. The man said that the underground city had all kinds of people. Everyone had the most information, and if they were looking for someone they could go to Big Brother. If he couldn't help you, no one in Chang'an City could help you. Sweating, Kin Man asked the man how they could meet him. The man giggled and told them that meeting Big Brother was not that easy. Ordinary people simply couldn't get into the underground city, and seeing Big Brother was even more difficult, as he was not just someone they could see as they pleased. He suggested that they'd better find someone on the road that could introduce them to him, as they would first sneak up in the underground city and get familiar with the people, and maybe he'll meet them if he was in a good mood. The 3 of them grinned, as Zhu Shenji said that they already found a reliable person who could help them. Confused, the man asked where that person was. The man realized that they were talking about him and asked them, as he rejected. He told them that Big Brother would kill him if he knew that he was bringing outsiders to him. Zulinger told the man to take them to that man, as they didn't have time to talk to him or otherwise. The man should prepare to be a eunuch in his next life. Tin Man also said that if the man refused, there was no use in keeping his 3rd foot, suggesting to break his hamstring. The man backed off towards a wall and told them he'll take them to the underground city right away. At Chang'an City Corner, Kin Man asked the man if there was a history of the underground city. The man answered that it was said that 30 years ago, when Emperor Ming ascended to the throne, he built a tomb for his ancestors, but soon after the tomb was finished, the Ring tribe invaded and Emperor Ming escaped from Chang'an. And when he returned to Chang'an, he heard the Feng Shui masters say that it was the bad Feng Shui of the tomb that brought the Ring tribe. Emperor Ming believed those words, so the tomb was abandoned. And over the past 30 years, the pace gradually became the gathering of all sorts of people. As the man opened and picked up the stone, a stair was visible and told them that they had already arrived. He told them to follow him and not to run around. The man informed them that night was the busiest time in the underground city, and below them was the night market of the underground city, to which Zhu Shenji turned to look. He continued that the city's night market was a place for gambling, singing, selling stolen goods, and all kinds of business, and also hiring fighters, buying slaves, killers for revenge, and hidden prostitutes, a variety of stolen goods, a variety of rare treasures, and unseen things. As long as you had money, you could buy anything in the underground city, the man said. As they climbed towards the stairs, 2 guards were guarding a huge door. The man told them not to talk nonsense in front of Big Brother. He informed them that Big Brother had a rule: if they wanted to ask him for help, they had to do something for him. Kin Man asked what it was. The man said that sometimes he would ask them their family heirloom, and sometimes he would ask to kill someone or steal a treasure, and also sometimes he would ask what you ate in the morning. The 3 didn't speak a word. The man greeted the guards and asked them if they had time, as he has friends in Zhonghu and they wanted to ask Big Brother for a favor. Axie spoke first and asked the man if he got the treasure that Big Brother asked him to steal, and if so he could put it and he can go. Aku added and told the man to go back, as Big Brother didn't want to see outsiders. The man looked at the 3 and told Axie and Aku if they could please tell Big Brother that his friend's business was very urgent. A voice inside the door spoke, calling Axie, and asked him what's with all the noise and ordered him to let them in. The door opened. Axie told them that the boss invited them inside. Inside, a female dancer greeted them as music played while she danced. As they entered, the man didn't speak a word. Moments later, he bowed and greeted the boss. A hand appeared, asking Little Fei if he brought outsiders again to annoy him. Zhu Shenji stepped forward and said that they were new to the area and knew that he ran many things. He told him that they came to pay their respects to him. The boss showed his face as Zhu Shenji watched the man. Cheng Dalei turned to look at him, as both of them didn't speak a word. He slapped his head and mumbled that he hadn't been a boss for years. As the woman continued singing, Cheng Dalei asked her that she could step back for now, to which Little Peach agreed. Zhu Shenji's tears fell as he said that they had finally found him and wondered if he wasn't dreaming. Cheng Dalei answered that he was real and not fake at all, asking him not to pinch him as it hurts. As Zhu Shenji pinched Cheng Dalei's face, he said that he's really alive. Cheng Dalei told Zhu Shenji to stop touching him as he already pinched him enough. Annoyed, Little Fei told them to stop and asked how they could be so rude towards Cheng Dalei. Qin Man asked Cheng Dalei where he had been for most of the year. Zhu Linger added that they searched hard for him. Cheng Dalei smiled and said that he understood that they were looking for him and asked why he wasn't looking for them. He ordered Little Fei to go down to get some good wine, as today his friends arrived and no one would return sober, to which Little Fei agreed. Little Fei thought that it was the first time he saw Cheng Dalei happy, believing that it seemed like they'd known each other for a long time. Moments later, they sat in front of the dining table. Zhu Shenji asked Cheng Dalei how he became like that. Cheng Dalei sighed and said that it's a long story. He said that the day he fell off the cliff, if it hadn't been for a friend who helped him with his life, his soul would have already been in heaven. Although he just barely escaped, it took him a whole month to heal the injury, and since he was looking for something, he wandered on. But Cheng Dalei's wanted list was everywhere, and he was afraid to show his face outside. But he still had some work to do, so he could not keep hiding in the mountains. He traveled far away from the Yuzhu area to explore the world in search of clues. So he sneaked secretly into the kingdom's top city, the Chang'an city. People like him, who couldn't just go out in public, hid in the underground city. The underground city was ruled by a boss before him, and when he first arrived, he naturally had a disadvantage and such. The guy rushed up to him and said, "Young man, you are still young, the days are still long. Take out the precious things on your body and in the future you will work for me, as you are my subordinate from today onwards." Cheng Dalei, at least, was once a village master who, of course, couldn't stand it. On the spot, he broke the guy's leg bone with a kick. Then he summoned dozens of thugs. After he knocked them all down one by one, Cheng Dalei replaced him and became the new boss of the underground city. He still had some management experience and he applied the carrot and stick judiciously. If someone was in trouble in the underground city, he would help. If someone made a mistake, he would also punish them. And later, he started bribing the high-ups in the government. Thus, the underground city acquired a protective shield. So in just 6 months the place flourished. Everyone called him boss, as they felt a deep admiration because of that. In the underground hideout, Cheng Dalei asked about the situation of the others. Shenji replied that Gao Fei Hu and Gao Fei Bao brothers were still in the south of the Yangtze River, occupying the mountain as bandits. He sadly added that, for the others, who were departed a year ago, they never met them again. Cheng Dalei sighed, expressing frustration at the chaotic state of the army and their lack of knowledge about their lost people. Qin Man remained optimistic and mentioned that this time, many of their people would join the martial arts examination. Cheng Dalei also thought of the idea. He explained that he left a mark in the city to help their lost people find them. Curious, Qin Man inquired about the nature of this mark, admitting that he hadn't noticed it. Cheng Dalei clarified that he set up tea stalls with toads painted on their banners outside every city gate. He questioned if they were not noticed when they passed by. A whimsical moment followed when Qin Man, Linger, and Shenji tried to recall the painted toad on the signage. Qin Man recalled what Shenji had said about that mark. Linger answered Qin Man with her father's humorous comment about the fat puppy painted on the banner, while Shenji silently smiled. Cheng Dalei doubtfully said that there might be a reason why they could not find him. Suddenly, the young man burst in. He happily presented to Cheng Dalei that he stole from the imperial kitchen, explaining that it was the 18-year-old apricot flower liquor, while pouring the liquor into Cheng Dalei's cup. Shenji, perplexed by Fei Yuan, questioned Cheng Dalei about him. Cheng Dalei introduced Bai Fei Yuan to them. He shared the life of Fei Yuan. When he was young, his parents died, got raised by an old ape in the mountain, saw a living person at the age of 12 and had no other skills, so he became a burglar. He also shared the time Fei Yuan was caught by officials and saved by him. He told him that character disguise is important. Fei Yuan chimed in with a cheeky remark about Cheng Dalei's life. Without him, there would be no flying toad today. Amidst their conversation, Jai Tao called Cheng Dalei and explained that she knew that his friends were present, so she had taken the liberty to offer a toast of a cup of wine. She poured wine into her cup and drank it elegantly. While she drank, Shenji flusteredly smiled at her while Linger and Qin Man looked at her without much reaction. After she drank the wine, Jai Tao then assured Cheng Dalei that she wouldn't disturb him today while placing the cup on the table. She mentioned that whenever Cheng Dalei wasn't feeling well, he could call on her. She was there for him, displaying graceful respect. Ji Tao included that she would wait for him. She said it with a hint of flirtation in her eyes. Cheng Dalei acknowledged her offer and suggested she go back and practice the new song he had taught her. He asked her to sing it for him the next time they met. Shenji was curious and asked Cheng Dale about Jai Tao while he pervasively stared at her. With a proud expression, Cheng Dale remembered her name and asked Shenji if he knew about her. Linger, however, expressed her disinterest, remarking that Cheng Dale had fallen quite low. Cheng Dale defended himself, claiming his innocence. He then shared the story of how he helped Jai Tao. He explained that when a big shot person wanted Jai Tao's body, she was in a vulnerable situation, and Jai Tao asked him for help. He couldn't bear to ignore a weak and lonely woman at that time, so he decided to assist her. Cheng Dale continued, saying that he taught her some songs, which she quickly learned, and it helped her rise to popularity, eventually becoming the first queen of flowers in the capital. Interested, Shenji couldn't help but emphasize Jai Tao's beauty, prompting bored reactions from Kin Man and Linger. Cheng Dale maintained his innocence but couldn't help but wear a sly grin, acknowledging Jai Tao's beauty in the situation. However, Linger mentioned the names Flying Toad and Jai Tao while expressing her suspicion. She then raised the question of whether Cheng Dale had any connection with Princess Minjiu, who was still missing, and whether Cheng Dale had a relationship with her. Cheng Dale calmly clarified that Princess Minjiu was actually Wanner, causing surprise among Shenji, Linger, and Kin Man. He wondered why they were looking at him in shock. The three of them went silent after hearing it. Axie interrupted their conversation with the news that a foreigner had arrived to visit him. He also reported that the foreigners had found their way through the tea stalls set up by their brothers at the city gates, suggesting that they might be the person Cheng Dale had been waiting for. In response, Cheng Dale gave the order to let them in. Liu Zhai expressed her unease about the eerie atmosphere. After they got inside, Liu Zhai questioned whether Cheng Dale was really present. As the both of them walked through the room, Cheng Dale and Su Ying locked eyes, and they both fell silent. Su Ying appeared surprised. Cheng Dale greeted them with a smile, remarking that it had been a long time since they had last met. On the other hand, Liu Zhai couldn't contain her excitement and rushed to hug Cheng Dale with joy, embracing him tightly. At the same place in the underground hideout, a man with a pleading expression was sharing his awkward situation with Cheng Dale. He began by describing Chang'an as a place where his ancestors had lived for generations. The man revealed that the restaurant he owned had been passed down from his grandfather to his father and eventually to him, having been in his hands for 2 decades. The man recounted a recent incident where the palace butler had visited his restaurant and ordered a roasted goose, a glass of floral wine, and 4 small dishes. He explained that the customer had consumed the entire glass of white wine and half of the roasted goose at his restaurant. After consuming the wine and half of the roasted goose, the butler fell ill at home and blamed the restaurant's food, demanding 1,000 silver coins as compensation. He also explained that the recipe for roasted goose had been passed down through generations in his family, and their restaurant was well known in Chang'an. He mentioned that there had never been any complaints about their roasted goose in the past. However, when he complained to the government about the customer's demand for compensation, they confiscated his store. He felt humiliated as he stood helplessly in front of his restaurant, with people from the palace laughing at him. Desperate for help, he explained that he had asked around, and everyone suggested that Cheng Dale was the only person who could help him. Cheng Dale questioned why the man had initially approached the government instead of seeking his help. The man, with desperation in his eyes, entreated Cheng Dale for assistance, seeking his help to teach a lesson to the corrupt officials. Cheng Dale, maintaining a stern expression, initially declined the man's request. The desperate man offered money, willing to pay any amount to secure Cheng Dale's assistance, emphasizing that Cheng Dale was his last hope in the entire city of Chang'an. Unmoved by the financial offer, Cheng Dale pointed out that the people in Chang'an ate his roasted goose, but he had never tasted it. He then expressed his disappointment that the man had approached him today for help without even bringing him a 2 roasted goose. The man quickly made excuses for not bringing the roasted goose, citing that he was in a hurry and emphasizing his urgency in seeking justice. Cheng Dale, however, did not buy his excuse and instead reminded him how he was disrespected. He treated him like a tyrant, a murderer, and even brought silver to ask Cheng Dale to kill someone. The man was without a response to him while gritting his teeth. Cheng Dale understood his predicament. He then mentioned that the man started his restaurant with the hope of making money and believed that the law and government would protect his interests. Cheng Dale continued, revealing that the man never sought his friendship, causing the man to leave searching for a response, unable to find a reason. He highlighted that the man only sought help to get his right when he had no other choice left, and noted that throughout their conversation, the man failed to address him as boss. In response, the man stuttered, while hesitantly addressing Cheng Dale. He bowed to him as a sign of respect. Cheng Dale accepted this token of respect, remarking positively. As he approached the kneeling man, Cheng Dale agreed to help the man seek justice, expressing a desire for mutual assistance in the future should he ever find himself in trouble. But he expressed hope that the man would be there to help him if he got into trouble someday. The man was visibly nervous, acknowledging Cheng Dale's request for reciprocal support. On the other side of the room, Kin Man, Shenji, and Linger observed the situation. They were all stunned and speechless. Fei Yuan then chimed in, conveying Cheng Dale's belief that a person's image held significant importance, and he said it with a proud expression. After that moment, in the Chamber of Commerce of Su, the inn where they were staying, Su Ying confronted Cheng Dale. She began by noting that a few months ago, Cheng Dale had come to the south side of the river but had not shown himself, leaving only a message. Su Ying mentioned that Cheng Dale had tasked her with collecting the relics of kings and generals, which she had now brought. She asked if there was anything specific he wanted. Su Ying expressed her concern about Cheng Dale's busy schedule over the past few months, wondering if he had become so occupied that he couldn't find time to visit them. Cheng Dale explained that his underground men had also received orders to steal treasures from wealthy nobles, except for the royal treasury and the royal tombs. They had searched every noble family once. He believed they would find the treasure soon. Su Ying acknowledged the hardships Cheng Dale had faced while on the run. She then advised him to find a woman to take care of him for things that men couldn't do. She then mentioned that she lived with Liu Zhai these days, and during the months Cheng Dale was absent, Liu Zhai occasionally cried secretly at night. Su Ying suggested that Cheng Dale considered taking Liu Zhai to his room, and told him that Liu Zhai was attached to him for a long time. Furthermore, Su Ying mentioned that Xiaoda was her personal maid and was grown up. She proposed that Cheng Dale could take her as a maid to have an additional person to take care of him and to ease her concerns about Xiaoda's future. Xiaoda approached with a tray of tea, inadvertently overhearing Su Ying and Cheng Dale's conversation. Her reaction suddenly became awkward while approaching them. While Cheng Dale was busy looking at the relics, he expressed that he had more pressing matters to do in Chang'an City and didn't have the time for something like this, to which Su Ying responded with a momentary silence before agreeing. She fell silent again and displayed a demure expression before eventually speaking up. Su Ying then asked about the matter concerning Zhai Tao, which seemed to stir a noticeable reaction in Cheng Dale. Su Ying voiced out her concerns, highlighting that she wasn't a jealous woman, yet she questioned Cheng Dale for not visiting them for months. She asked what he was doing with Zhai Tao and Chang'an, expressing concern about what people might think of them. Her face turned red as she expressed her concern. Cheng Dale, with a slight tremor in his voice, nervously reassured Su Ying that he and Zhai Tao and Chang'an were innocent and told Su Ying not to listen to other people's nonsense. Su Ying responded with a subtle smile and let out a small chuckle. She continued, acknowledging that she believed Cheng Dale and Zhai Tao had not done anything wrong. She blushed while mentioning the way Zhai Tao looked at Cheng Dale, implying that it seemed like Zhai Tao had feelings for him. As she stood up from her seat, Su Ying offered guidance, urging Cheng Dale not to mislead people and suggesting that he should resolve the matter before it became a problem. She expressed her coldness as to whether Cheng Dale chose to accept or end his relationship with Zhai Tao. Su Ying then noted that it was getting late and mentioned she was going back to her bedroom. Blushing, she suggested that Cheng Dale should come over to get some rest once he was done working. Cheng Dale remained motionless, his expression frozen, seemingly lost in contemplation about the complexities of a woman's heart, noting that it was like a shallow needle in the sea. Midnight, Cheng Dale continued to carefully examine the various pieces of jewels, relics, and other items scattered. He pondered silently, recognizing the authenticity of these treasures. He thanked Su Ying's clear-sighted skills, that most of them likely belonged to kings and princes. Cheng Dale's thoughts, mentioning that he was searching for a suitable container for quite some time, and his frustration was visible. He wondered to himself whether it was truly hard to find a suitable container. Suddenly, as he pondered his thought, he recognized the uniqueness of the treasure. As he picked up the treasure from the box, the system suddenly beeped, indicating that he had acquired the container. Cheng Dale's face contorted in shock as he recognized the relic's name: Chosen Son of God, Emperor Guanwu, Liu Ziu. The system chimed in, establishing a link now that Cheng Dale had obtained the container. It warned that the container had limited capacity, only suitable for storing the system's sprite. Another beep indicates that a decision had to be made to transfer the system's sprite or not. Cheng Dale agreed, and the system's sprite was successfully transferred to the container. The system then announced that the system administrator, Xin, was offline. It presented to him the option to reset the system, But there was a catch. The container's age had caused most of its power to escape, and it could only be used as a tank for the system's spirit. A further warning followed, stating that if Cheng Dale wanted to reset the system, he would need to find a container with enough power. The system suddenly cautioned that the current power level was insufficient for a successful reset. In the underground world, Aku approached Cheng Dale with updates. He informed Cheng Dale that the Jiang Palace was lost a night glow pearl, and couldn't find it after searching everywhere. They were now seeking their help in finding the pearl. Cheng Dale, while lying on his bed, responded, and instructed Aku to bring the person responsible for the pearl's mission to Xiao Fei, who possessed the pearl. Cheng Dale emphasized the need for caution and to avoid Xiao Fei falling into a trap, which Aku acknowledged the orders. Next, Aku brought up a conflict between the Black Fox Gang and the Iron Burden Gang over territorial disputes. He sought guidance on how to deal with the matter. Cheng Dale responded with an insult, questioning if they were beggars, expressed surprise that cultured people resorted to violence, and instructed Aku to tell them to split the territory in half with no violence allowed. Aku once again acknowledged the orders. Aku then reported another situation in which the Shenwu escort team had been robbed by Hulu Mountain while escorting an item. They were requesting their help to recover it. Cheng Dale expressed his lack of interest in helping the Shenwu escort team recover their stolen goods, suggesting that if they had failed to pay tribute to Hulu Mountain, they should learn a lesson and suffer a little. He seemed unwilling to assist them, to which Aku agreed. Aku then mentioned another report that the leader of a troop, whom Cheng Dale had previously saved from jail, wanted to meet him and personally express gratitude. Aku inquired if Cheng Dale wanted to see him. Cheng Dale appeared curious as he stood by his bedside and sat down, asking if it was a good idea to meet him. Aku mentioned that the leader of the troop Cheng Dale had rescued was a male, which led to Cheng Dale's response to Aku to tell them to get lost and not to bother him. Aku nodded and acknowledged Cheng Dale's decision. Just as the conversation was concluding, Fei Yuan entered the room with news from the imperial residence, specifically about an event scheduled for tomorrow afternoon at Chang'an's wine house. Later in Chang'an City, Shenji couldn't help but question Cheng Dale's if he put on makeup when he went out. Cheng Dale sighed and explained that he had to wear a disguise when he went out because his wanted posters were plastered all over Chang'an. Without a disguise, he would essentially be a walking pile of silver. Curious about Cheng Dale's future plans, Shenji asked if he intended to remain in Chang'an or if he would seek another mountain to rule over and find their missing brothers. Cheng Dale expressed his opinion that despite the appeal of Chang'an, there were too many laws in the city compared to ruling over an entire mountain. However, he mentioned that he had some things to do in Chang'an, prompting Shenji to confirm and change the topic by asking who they were going to meet next. Cheng Dale responded that they were going to meet the boss. Shenji was surprised and asked him if there was still someone higher up than him, to which Cheng Dale revealed that there was indeed a boss above him in Chang'an and emphasized the importance of having someone to rely on in Chang'an. As they arrived at Chang'an Wine House, someone poured tea into a cup. Wanner asked Cheng Dale why he hadn't visited her in such a long time. Cheng Dale responded, mentioning that he had been very busy with all the work she left for him as the chairman. Wanner refuted his claim, questioned Cheng Dale about his reference to a chairman, and clarified that she was only requesting his help with some errands and finding out some news, which shouldn't have been hard. She noted that it had been half a month and asked for the information she needed. Cheng Dale playfully commented that even a single order from her had set hundreds of his men to start working to death. He then recalled her previous requests, like catching butterflies that he had run around in the mountains to catch a few hundred and acquiring a western bobcat that he had pulled so many of his connections just to buy one for her. Unfinished recounting the extravagant requests in the past by Wanner. Afterward, Cheng Dale handed over a comprehensive manual on how to put on makeup, written by Zhai Tao. He also mentioned the list of the best street food, snack shops, and restaurants in Chang'an, all of which had been meticulously chosen by his men who had visited each shop. Having fulfilled her requests, Cheng Dale asked for what he wanted. Wanner handed Cheng Dale an item that she had secretly taken from the Imperial Armory. She emphasized that he wasn't allowed to take it away.